So in the wake of the Bondi shooting last weekend, there's obviously been a lot of outrage, there's been a lot of news coverage, and one particular clip that caught my attention was from channel favourite Abbie Chatfield. You know her, you probably don't love her. But Abbie has some feelings about this horrible event, and they're not what you'd expect. Well, I mean, maybe they are, who knows? See, Abbie is super mad at uneducated, sick little freak Americans.
Sick freaks, you sick little freaks.
You can't make this shit up. I have some thoughts. Let's dive right in. Let's go!
I've seen some Americans who obviously struggle to hold information in their brains and compute a thought say that the shooting in Bondi is evidence that gun control does not work. Just a reminder to all the Americans, as an Australian, as someone that lives in Bondi, first of all, our tragedy is not yours to politicize.
Oh, it's our tragedy. Fucking classic Abbie Chatfield. Whenever something horrific happens, she inserts herself right into the middle of it. Violence against women. Oh my God, I'm a woman, I'm a victim too. A shooting in Australia. Oh my God, I'm Australian, I'm a victim too. See, it's our tragedy, and somehow that our obviously includes Abbie Chatfield. It's not the victim's tragedy, it's not the family's tragedy, no. Abbie Chatfield, microphone owner, has arrived to emotionally referee this situation. Now, Australians are obviously allowed to be sad. Something horrific happened in our country. People are saying Australia is grieving. Totally fair. That's a rational response. The issue here is personal ownership. It's gone from Australians are hurting to this now belongs to me. I get to scold the internet. That's fucking hall monitor energy. And especially coming from someone who can't stay out of American politics. Gun laws, elections, culture wars, presidents. She comments on US tragedies constantly. She even implied that someone should assassinate Donald Trump.
When are you going to do it? Why isn't it already done? Every day there's another happening, right? Awful for your country. Awful. There's all these incels that are going, oh, what the fuck me? So they go and do, you know what would actually make people respect you a little bit and make people want to fuck you? Is if you did it.
Yes, that actually happened. So for fuck's sake, Abbie, spare us the sudden lecture about borders. Apparently borders only exist when someone disagrees with you.
Our tragedy is not yours to politicize, particularly when your politicization makes no fucking sense and shows how uneducated you are about Australian gun history and also about, I don't know, how human beings work, how the world simply works. You pro-gun weirdos.
That is the Abbie Chatfield argument strategy. Slap a label on people and declare victory. No engagement, no argument, just sneering until the audience claps. This isn't persuasion, this is a fucking tantrum with a ring light. Now, in the aftermath of this horrible attack, there's been a lot of talk about the government further clamping down on Australian gun laws, except when it comes to security at Jewish events. See, the security guards at this Hanukkah event weren't even fucking armed. I mean, that just blows me away. Now, the Premier of New South Wales is talking about relaxing gun laws when it comes to Jewish security specifically.
Do you think there is an argument for the Jewish security, the CSG, to have weapons so that they could respond to serious threats like this?
Yes, I do. Now, CSG have been in discussions with the New South Wales government in the last 24 hours. They're given permission at Jewish places of worship, Jewish schools, to be armed on site, but we're in discussions with them about events, Jewish events in particular.
Is Abbie going to call the New South Wales Premier a pro-gun weirdo? I don't think she is. And also, what about the fucking rest of us? I mean, that's great for Jewish people, but what about the fucking rest of us? I posted this list on X. It's a list of all the terrorist attacks in Australia since 9/11. It got certain people pretty fucking salty, let me tell you.
That was our first mass shooting since 1996. Having one mass shooting in 30 years does not prove that gun control doesn't work. Also, those guns were legally obtained.
Okay, freeze frame. Did that sentence just kneecap her entire argument? The guns were legally obtained under Australia's strict gun laws. Licensed, approved, all clear. Yet somehow our perfect system did fuck all. So the solution is obviously more bans. Let's clamp down on everyone who didn't do this. I mean, that's a bit like getting food poisoning and blaming the fork. It's retarded.
So, as a result of having those legally obtained guns being involved in our only mass shooting in 30 years, our Prime Minister is now putting forward legislation to make our gun legislation even tougher. We are responding to the tragedy that we can admit was caused by guns.
Abbie, for fuck's sake, I don't know how to tell you this. It was caused by people. People with intent, with targets, with beliefs. Guns didn't wake up that morning and wander into a Hanukkah event. You see, guns don't accuse you of racism. Guns don't get you uninvited from left-wing brunch. But the mere mention of ideology, that will get you banned. You see, Abbie is a pussy. Not once will she address this. She's mad at guns. She's mad at Americans. She's mad at the right wing. She's always fucking mad at the right wing. She's a clown.
So you know what's happening? We're doubling down on gun laws. The day after that was announced. The day after. You not caring about your mass shootings is not a good enough reason to try and go, look at Australia. Well, I thought they had gun control in Australia. Yeah, we do. That's why we don't have mass shootings.
And here's the trick. She hyperfixates on mass shootings because it's the one narrow box where she gets to feel smug. Meanwhile, she sprints away from every other horrific attack we've had. Stabbings, car attacks, sieges, terror incidents. Because acknowledging those would force her to talk about Islamist ideology. And she will not do that. Not because she doesn't see it, but because she's scared of her own side of politics. And it's not only Islamist and terrorist incidents. Look at that Bondi stabbing where 5 people got stabbed and killed. That wasn't classified as a terrorist incident. The guy was just insane. But how many lives could have been saved if there was a good guy with a gun and they didn't have to wait for the cops to fucking mosey on down? Now, don't get me wrong. I like the fact that we don't have many mass shootings in Australia. I think that's a good thing. But when we look at this last attack, the Bondi attack, you look at how many people were able to clearly film these shooters. They had perfect line of sight. And it brings me back to the question I raised in my last video about this topic. What if we had some good guys with guns, you know what I mean? Surely there's a discussion to be had there. Now, I'm not saying turn Australia into the Wild West. I'm not saying everyone should be getting about with a fucking gun on their side. But surely a few more people with like a concealed carry fucking sidearm license or something, surely there's a discussion to be had there.
You are odd to not care about the fact that you had more mass shootings in a 12-hour period than Australia has had in 30 years. It's what a bizarre, uneducated, unintelligent, disgusting, deplorable take. It proves how little you care about people's lives because you haven't even thought about this. It proves how little you care about the children's lives.
Pure emotional extortion. You don't care about kids' lives. Americans don't care about dead kids. Well, here's a question. Does Abbie care about dead Jews? Does she care about dead Australians? Because if someone at that event was strapped, then maybe there wouldn't be so many dead Australians or dead Jews. See, it works both ways, Abbie. And I don't see why we can't just have a little bit of moderation here. Why we can't have a discussion about, self-defense. I mean, here she is blathering on about guns when she doesn't once address motive. You're not protecting lives, you're protecting a narrative, Abbie. It's actually remarkable how similar to the Australian government she is. The Australian government, they're always so keen to crack down on hate speech. Any opportunity to crack down on hate speech, we'll take it. But insert Islamist ideology and we turn to piss. Here's the Australian Deputy Prime Minister.
Do you feel like there needs to be, and should there be, a greater emphasis on hate speech from Muslim clerics in the western part of Sydney?
I think, as I said earlier, what we've done is criminalise more forms of hate speech, and we've criminalised the Nazi salute. Obviously, that's in its own context, but we need to be looking at all of this, and and it is really important that we have.
So should there be a greater emphasis on this hate speech from Muslim clerics then?
Well, I don't want to. We will go through all of this. I emphasise that we have done more in terms of criminalising hate speech than we have seen from any other government. But we need to look at all of this.
Oh, we need to look at all of this. We'll look at it. That's the term I use with my wife when she wants me to do something that I can't be fucked doing. Honey, the backsliding door's running rough. I think the rollers need to be cleaned out. Oh, I'll look at it. We need to fix the hinge on the kitchen fucking cupboard. I don't know. Shit like that. Oh, I'll look at it. It's code for fuck you, don't bother me with this.
This isn't to all Americans. This is to those who right now are saying, gotcha. Sick freaks. You sick little freaks.
Abbie Chatfield, ladies and gentlemen. A couple of Islamist terrorists gunned down a fuckload of people at a beach in Bondi, and Americans are sick fucks. I want to finish this video with a clip from Konstantin Kisin. Now, you might like him, you might hate him, but he makes a fucking good point here. I hope he doesn't mind me using it.
To avoid offending morons, let's not talk about people and talk about apples instead. As you know, there are red apples, green apples, and yellow apples. Let's imagine for a second that a small percentage of green apples are poisonous and can injure and kill people. It's difficult to distinguish the toxic green apples from the other green apples, which are perfectly peaceful, law-abiding, and so forth. Now imagine that you're the public health authority whose job it is to protect the public. If your concern is solving the problem of the small minority of toxic green apples, you would immediately do a number of things. You might devote significant resources to identifying the toxic green apples and removing them from the supermarket shelves. You might commission thorough research into how and where the toxic green apples are grown. You might crack down very, very hard on anyone who knowingly participates in growing or distributing such apples. You might even say that while you are dealing with the problem of deaths caused by toxic green apples, bringing more green apples into the country is liable to worsen the public health crisis until suitable measures are identified which allow you to separate the bad green apples from the good ones. This is how you would act if your primary concern was the safety of the public. But what if you, as the public health authority, had spent the preceding decades claiming that all apples are the same? That to suggest that a small minority of green apples are potentially toxic is fear-mongering and greenophobic. What if you'd been openly encouraging unfiltered importation of green apples and actively resisted calls to thoroughly check whether such apples are in fact digestible for your citizens? What if your mantra for the last 20 years had been that anyone who believes there may be significant variations between the toxicity of different types of apples is a bigot who must be suppressed for fear of emboldening the far right? If you were in fact responsible for the fact that people were now being killed on the streets of your country by the small minority of toxic green apples, would you not do everything in your power to explain that the diversity of apples is our greatest strength? That the toxicity of green apples has nothing to do with them being green? That any doctor who suggests that the government should carefully regulate the importation of green apples specifically is a racist. The central premise of our elite consensus is that we must continue to pretend that all apples are the same, no matter how many people pay for this lie with their lives.
There's a link to his video in the description. Thank you for watching. I'll leave it there. If you have any comments, leave them down below or at my Twitter. It's @bear_ing. I'll see you next time. Ta-ta. Bye-bye.